There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games, no. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games, no. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games, no. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want.
Yes, we are live. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. There's been an off season, but we are back. Generation Orange is back. Same day they decided to do a kid drop, which we'll get to in a little bit. Welcome back to Oh, go ahead, Mark. No, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Sean? How you doing?
I was just gonna say, welcome back.
No, obviously, the brain trust over there at the Dynamo front office, wanted to kind of connect with the welcome back with Generation Orange, so that's why they dropped the kit right before, the show, before the first episode of season 4. You want to call it maybe?
Season 4, sure. Let's call it season 4.
Season 4 of Generation Orange, and guys, I mean, it's hopefully the start of a brand new era. I hope that this season of Generation Orange, along with the season of the Dynamo, is a lot more joyful and full of happiness and pure bliss, as opposed to the last 7 years of Dynamo, soccer. But whether here or there, we're glad to be back. Obviously myself, Sean, and everybody else that's associated with Generation Orange, we're so happy to have you back, and obviously with everybody in the Twitch chat already going on, shout out to everybody who was on here before talking about the kid before we came back on. But man, it's gonna be a full fun packed first show. So
I guess I was a little hopeful with the size of the Twitch chat stream. It's literally like 30 lines or something long, and 2 people have chatted in it. It fades away after 30 seconds, so if people don't chat a lot, it goes away. I might have to shrink that size down, put something else up there. But fam, we are glad to be back. Trust me. We've been talking about when we were going to come back for a little bit now, and just trying to synchronize schedules and everything else. And lo and behold, Wednesdays continues to work for both of us. So this is expect this time to stick pretty much for the whole season. And hopefully, unlike last season, we're going to try to make it a little more consistent, nearly every week.
Sure. I mean, I think one of the things, with it's just been kind of crazy, obviously with the COVID season, and then work schedules changing because of it, and and just things, just life, I guess, and yeah, hopefully everything's a little bit more back to normal, and I hope everybody out there is still pretty safe. I know we had a little bit of an increase of COVID, the last month, I guess, due to all the holidays celebrating a couple months prior. But yeah, man, I hope we get back to regular schedule. We're all able to do the show more frequently. Obviously, we're still in preseason mode. I know the opening match is the 27th, a couple of weeks away. So hopefully we're able to do a weekly show. But for sure, I know for sure we'll be doing bi-weekly at least. So
Yeah, and for anybody out there who may be video on demanding this later, or maybe it's your first time in chat, first of all, hello. Second of all, I am Sean Ringrose, and I am joined by my co-host,
Mark Segovia. How you doing, guys? Again. But yeah, man, Sean, I'm ready to just dive in, man. Obviously, this offseason.
You got the topics, brother. You just run with it, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, obviously, let's get off the bat with this kit drop, man. I mean, well, I know the topic was first going to be the player acquisitions that we had, but let's just talk about this kit real quick, and talk about how fire this kit is, man. I mean, me personally, when they decided to go to black kits for the away jerseys or kits, for the Dynamo a couple of years back, I think it was the best move the best decision they ever made as a club, honestly. No disrespect to the white kits, they're cool, but unfortunately, MLS and Adidas don't have too much imagination when it comes to white kits, and they're just a plain white tee with your logo and your sponsor on it, basically. Let's be honest. But these black kits have been amazing for the most part. My opinion, out of the 4, 3 of the 4 have been home runs. The last black kit, unfortunately, with the 3 stripes on the shoulder, to me wasn't to be honest, and I'm being
generous
when I say I'm being modest when I say but the first 2 in this one, man, I'm so ready to go get this kit.
Yeah, imagine if they had introduced the HDFC rebrand with this kit.
Oh man, dude, I mean, it would have been phenomenal. I mean, it's one of those things.
I will say this: people would have been pissed off. There's not enough orange. That would have been the first thing they would have said. But it's meant to be. It's meant to be an alternative color kind of kit.
It's an away kit.
Mm-hmm.
It's an away kit. I mean, obviously, the one that you have on currently right now is the one that we're going to see most at PNC. Almost said BBVA, PNC Stadium now.
It takes a little bit to get used to, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, that's the primary kit that we're going to see. But obviously, if the viewers do decide to go to an away game or whatever, seeing that nice crisp black, and black is just classic, man. It's a classic color that makes you look very good, very sharp, and these guys and our players are gonna look very, very good. And I hope to have a good performance on the pitch with these kits on, because obviously we know for the last some odd years the road has not been very friendly to us, but hopefully with this swag that they have on now because of this kit and with the better quality of players that we have coming in and that we've brought in already, hopefully those road woes aren't too much for us anymore.
Yeah, Houston Dynamo memes with the "I was surprised Austin is rocking that mint color." I don't know if you've seen. I don't want to detract from what we're talking about. We'll get back to the kit here in just a second. I don't know if you've seen that Austin kit, man. That is some pea soup, baby poop, vomit colored, diarrhea running kit. Somebody called it mint julep. Like
I've always have enough time to for little Austin this or whatever here and there, but yeah, man, it looked like the child from the Mandalorian had diarrhea.
Baby Yoda's diarrhea. That's what we're gonna call it, the Baby Yoda diarrhea kit.
That's what it was, man. But the Star Wars franchise is popular right now, so maybe they're just trying to piggyback off that. I don't know. But like I said, it's plain to be honestly, plain kit.
Hey, we were there not that long ago, just 2 seasons ago. That was the same way we were, plain kit.
Yeah, nothing fantastic about it. So it is what it is. But that's as much time as I'm willing to give Austin FC. On this,
hey, that's fair. That's fair. I'm hoping that maybe by talking a little Austin, people get riled up and come join the show, and then tell us how great Austin is, because
for sure, man. I mean, look, man, guys, look, we are a Houston Dynamo podcast. Obviously we Houston Dash as well, Houston Soccer. Let me say that for sure. Houston Soccer podcast. But obviously, if the AFC fans want to come in, or the FC Frisco fans want to show up and pop up and talk to us a little bit, we don't shy away. We're willing to talk to you, read your chats, we'll read your comments and all that stuff. We're not shy. We don't back down or anything like that. We're not gonna get rude about it either. But for the most part, it's banter.
Sure. I mean, what are they gonna say? Oh, we got a championship. Oh no, y'all don't have a championship, so y'all ain't got no mess to talk about. I'm just saying, bro.
At the end of the day, they don't have those 2 stars that you have on your chest right there.
At the end of the day, we're the last Texas team to win a championship in MLS. U.S. Open Cup. U.S. Open Cup.
And we'll be the next.
That's damn straight. Yeah, Jake says the Ted Nonstad effect are in full swing. Kenny says, also, I don't think teams that change logos put much effort into the first logo our first kit after the change. We saw that with Sean's jersey, the one I'm wearing now, which was the plain orange with the black stripes and the little bit of piping with this kind of championship silver. And New England's, which is right after they changed their kit, their logo, same kind of thing. So, yeah, I think we do tend to see that, and I think it may just be a trend that they put a lot of their effort in marketing time, in visual time, into the actual rebrand, as opposed to putting that time and effort into a new kit. Go ahead, Mark.
There was something interesting that our president John Walker said when we went to the meeting when we had the unveiling of the supporter section a couple of weeks back. They said when we were talking about the kits and stuff like that, because we were wondering when they're gonna drop in and when we're gonna see the new kits and all that stuff, and he said that Adidas and whoever is in charge of that decision making for that club have already made the decision for the kit 2 years back. So I don't know how much they've already thought about the rebrand at that time 2 years prior. So, obviously, if they did the rebound, I'm pretty sure they're scrambling around to just kind of put something together real quick to kind of fit with the new brand or the new logo or the new crest, whatever you want to call it. So, that's probably why it is plain. But look, man, honestly, I mean, as opposed to what Austin has with their pea soup, that orange is popping, man. I love that orange. So
look at Austin. All I'm saying is Austin are making it easy by dropping that color kit with that color like plain look, making it easier on the Dynamo. They don't have to fight for it. Like Dynamo's kit is the best in Texas. Period. Look at it. It's clear which kit is the best in Texas. Possibly even, I may go so far as to say best in MLS this season. We will see, but it is definitely a top 5 kit right now. And
yeah, I mean, look,
looks clean.
For sure. And I mean, out of all the kits I've seen, I mean, the only one I've seen that's kind of been up there is the Portland's away kit. They did a really great job with that rose, just something different, and they really kind of hit it out the park. I'm willing to give props where props is due, and they did a really good job with that design. But I mean, as far as everything else, I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia and love the away LA Galaxy kit, which I mean, it's a great kit from from back in the days, but it's the same kit from last year.
Sure.
So, I mean, But look, guys, Sean, let's talk about players, man. We had a game today.
We have players. Players. We got players.
We got new players. We've played 4 or 5 matches already in the preseason. I had a lot of great results. I had one blip in the road down there, but it's all good, man. It's preseason. We're practicing. We're trying to have fun. We're trying to build chemistry and all that stuff. So whatever happens right here doesn't matter. What matters is February 27th and beyond. So, regardless of what's being said on social media from opposing squads and things like that, it's just noise. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Well, once February 27th kicks off, that's what matters, and we'll see what happens by the end of October up until November. But, man, what do you think about today's game against Toronto FC? I know we won 2-0. Goals from
2-1. 2-1. As much as I would love for us to claim a clean sheet, can't claim that clean sheet.
2-1 from our new number 9, his 3rd goal of the preseason, Sebastien Ferreira, and on the goal from our Canadian Tyler Pasher.
Man, Ferrari looks phenomenal. And if anybody wonders why I call him Ferrari, it's because, when you go out and you spend the money on a luxury car, you expect it to give you luxury returns. And Sebas has already proven he is a luxury return on that money. So Ferrari it is. Ferrari's proven, man. He is legit. 3 goals through 5 matches in the preseason. Has set up a couple himself. He's a creative striker. He's a capable striker. He's been physical at times. He's been strong at times. He's gone on defense at times to help defensively. He's picked passes off at various times and created breakaway opportunities for a Fafa or Baird or Dorsey on the right-hand side, or even Lundy on the left-hand side. I like what I see out of Sebas, and like I said, legitimate striker finally for the Houston Dynamo that isn't named Mauro Manotas. In front of goal right now, he looks pretty solid.
No, for sure. I mean, he looks comfortable. I mean, I don't think the fact of the matter is, obviously I've seen the highlight reels from his time with Libertad and stuff like that, and all the different types of goals that he scored during that time period there. I mean, he seems very comfortable, and during his time in Morelia as well, when he played in Liga MX that one season alone, he looks very comfortable in front of goal. But like with every number 9, I mean, you need the number 9 for as much as he can score goals. He needs people to provide him the ball to be able to score those goals. And fortunate for him, I mean, Fafa, who I've criticized a lot on this show in the past, has shown up in preseason. And
say it louder for the people in the back, Mark.
Hey, look, I only speak the truth around here, man. That's all. I mean, look,
that's fair. That's fair. No, that's fair.
What I see with my own eyes is what I project out of my mouth. I don't just say stuff just to be saying it. But Fafa's look really good this preseason as well, providing assists, scoring goals as well. Obviously, we got new cats. Our youngins, Juan Castilla, did a really nice little nifty move. Nutmeg, and when he came in from Matias Vera,
16-year-old kid nutmegging a veteran MLS player. Let's go.
Yeah, people are excited about our first round draft pick Thor, the Thunder God, Love and Thunder coming soon. Uh,
Whoa.
so I mean, it's a lot of things to be excited about. I mean, and that's great.
Hey,
Obviously,
hey,
we're
you're
gonna
missing one of the biggest acquisitions of the off slash
Well,
preseason.
I'm just talking about the match right now.
Oh,
Give me a
all
second.
right, all right. The guy that we didn't see in the match is the one I'm talking about. No, go ahead. That's
Oh, yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, with the preseason and then brand new preseason approaching, it's full of optimism, brand new hope, and things like that. So, but let's keep going with these new players that we've got in, man.
Well, I want to talk one
introduce
thing
them.
real quick because we didn't get to talk about this in the off season really at all. All right, you've seen preseason now. Paulo Nagamura, you backing the boy? Is he your coach?
I mean, look, man, look. I know there was a lot of skepticism because of his background, right? Obviously, see what people failed to understand was with. I mean, look, I wasn't excited about the hiring.
Sure. Nobody should have been excited about Paulo Nagamura.
I wasn't excited about the hiring,
Yeah.
and then people obviously threw out his record and for SK2 whatever and all that stuff. But I mean, look, those leagues are development leagues, man. The wins and losses, even though it's cool if you win and you win a Division 3 title, whatever this and that, or USL 2 title, whatever it's called down there. That's cool, but at the end of the day, you're developing players to move up to the first team or sell on abroad, right? And that's what he was doing. He was funneling players through their academy and their system to go up to the first team and play for Peter Verms. And he was doing that successfully to the point where Pat Austin said, you know what, this is the guy who I need to kind of lay the foundation and teach this group of players that have been here and unfortunately have had a bad time from prior regimes to kind of, build them back up and put courage in their hearts and love for the game again, because when you go through 2 years, 2.5, 3 years of what we've been through the last 3 years, of being last place, second to last place team and losing in styles that you just can't believe sometimes, it gets demoralizing sometimes, and obviously, with brand new coaching staff and brand new players, and it comes, a wave of fresh air, and that's what we're hoping we're getting Paulo. So I mean, right now, look, up until now, Paulo has been doing really good. He's far exceeded my expectations of what he's doing. I mean, but like I said, this guy he lives and breathes soccer, So my question with him was never whether he understood the game or how to coach or how to manage. My question was, because of everything that we've been going through, was he the right person to bring in at this moment for him to have his first professional coaching gig?
Sure, yeah, no, and I get that, and I knew the moment that I heard the rumor that Paulo was going to be the new coach. I specifically said, this is not going to be a coach name that's going to ignite the fan base by itself. It's not intended to,
no. It didn't.
It shouldn't have. If you look across the MLS at a lot of the coaching options that were out there, Bob Bradley wasn't coming here. He was already decided on TFC. Arena was definitely staying in New England. You weren't prying any other coach from another team, and a lot of the coaching candidates that we looked at, like Pat Noonan,
Jamie Lozano,
Brian Bliss, Jaime Lozano, who, by the way, ended up going to a Liga MX team, Necaxa. I can't pronounce it. Necaxa. Sounds close. Necaxa. Ended up going there. Not exactly a powerhouse Liga MX team, to say the least. So, it does beg the question, is that an indication maybe of the level of that particular coach being hyped up just because of his experience? We saw the same thing happen with Tab Ramos. He was hyped up because of his experience coming from a national, youth national team, and look at what he did with the youth national team and this, that, and the other. But the fact was he hadn't had any real professional experience, and the last time Jaime had coached professionally was a while back. Yeah.
And going back to what Tab's tenure, I mean, obviously Tab, when he was first hired, I know you were excited about the hire. I was excited because it was somebody who we recognized, right? But I had my skepticism because I said on the show, there's a difference between coaching youth players who are willing to run through a brick wall for you to try to make it to the next level, as opposed to coaching professional players who've already been there, done that,
Sure.
and are trying. And depending on what stage of career they're in, you know, they have the fuel and drive to go do whatever you tell them to do, or to change their whole game around for you. You know, and point in case in point, the Darwin Quintero versus Tab Ramos saga. You know, that literally kind of destroyed the season last season, right? Because we finally saw. I mean, when Quintero was finally allowed to play, what we were missing out on. And think about how many games he could have saved, or how many goals he could have scored to turn ties into wins, or even losses into ties, or whatever. You know, it just when I understand being the manager or head coach or whatever and trying to stand your ground, that to some point you have to understand that, you know, you can't sacrifice your pride. You can't sacrifice the team's goals and objectives because of your personal pride, and what you're trying to convey to the squad. You know,
Evil Death, you are the man. 5 gifted subs, bro. Let's go.
Hey. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
What is up? Sorry, that caught my attention for good reason. Holy crap.
Yeah, I see that, man. But let's not worry about the past. The past is the past. You know, we're looking on to the future, man. So look, let's go down the list of the new players, man.
Hold up. Let's talk Paulo real quick. We talked Tab. Okay. We talked the past. So let's talk just a little bit about Paulo. You mentioned he comes from the SKC system, and why is that important? SKC system. What's the one thing that the SKC system, I'm not talking about SKC2 specifically, but the system was all about? It was about player development and getting them from that level, from the youth level, into the senior team, and finding players to complement those players, and finding your 1 or 2 key star players that are able to contribute and actually be immediate contributors. We saw the same thing in Columbus. Columbus is kind of the same way. They're building up their academy. So with Pat here, with Asher Mendelson here, with Paulo Nagamura, that's what we can look forward to. And it's kind of, to me, it's a pretty refreshing thing to see, because we're already starting to, in my opinion, see a little bit of that paying off in terms of, look at what you mentioned, Juan Castilla today. Look at what he did on the pitch today against an MLS player, against MLS players, multiple, good quality MLS players at that. Sure, it's preseason, take it for what it's worth, but hey, the kid is showing he's got skill. And we saw it with Guy Tao just a couple of matches ago against Colorado. That goal was phenomenal. The play that he had was phenomenal. Ndoye, good Lord, that dude is a beast at times. I don't know why he was so beast mode against Colorado. We ain't seen him since. But that boy looked like he could take on the world. And it wasn't against Colorado's second team either. They're getting ready for CCL. So, to me, I'm looking at all this depth that we have in the youth system right now, and that's going to be players that are playing for Dynados. Thor is likely going to go to Dynados, is my guess, if he doesn't end up being a backup substitute here for the senior team. But, I mean, Paulo Lima, how good did he look in midfield for the last, for the couple of matches, to the first 3 matches of the season before Coco came in and then after Coco got hurt?
It was good to see Barlow out there, man. Obviously, our first-round pick from last season.
Solid center back. He's back. He looks good.
That kid, unfortunately, he had his concussion issues and injury issues for his rookie season and wasn't able to. I don't even think he got on the pitch once last season, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
So I mean, it's great to see him in. So it's kind of like you have 2 first-round picks, and whether or not Thor and Barlow are with the Dynamo opening day, or would they start off with Dynados. The good thing about the U23 league that they have, MLS or MLS Next, whatever they decide to call it, it's that you have 2 full sets of teams in your backyard ready to go for whenever and whatever you need them for. Obviously, you see that example for like New York City FC, Montreal, Colorado, like you mentioned, all those teams who are in CCL right now. It's going to show up really good for us once we start Open Cup play and things like that as well. So, you give those kids an opportunity. You don't have to worry about flying them out from the valley to come up here and play a game and then send them back. They're right there playing across the street at HSP or Avena Stadium, depending on what their match is listed for. And it's always good. I've always been a component for having the players, especially the fringe players or the top academy players, training with the first team, because if they train with the first team, once they get that opportunity, once they shake that rust off of nervousness, they're gonna figure it out, and they're gonna adapt to it quicklier. Sorry, um, and it's gonna benefit both player and the team.
Yeah,
So,
they're already going to have a bit of built-in chemistry with the players around them because these are players that are, that they're comfortable with because these players are practicing together in practice. They're not the senior team and the U23 team. They're practicing together. Even the academy players coming into the practices and practicing with them. So, and this is going to be a consistent thing because this team, the U23 and the Dynamo Academy teams, they play at HSP where the Dynamo are practicing. That gives opportunities for Paulo and Asher to be out at those matches, to be out at practices, and for those players to get exposure and those players to get opportunities when they happen. And again, to your point, there's less of a learning curve, I think, in that regard, and it makes that pipeline, that transition, a little bit smoother, a little bit cleaner, because there's not as much of a jarring transition between the two. You don't have to send this player down to RGV for a couple of weeks or half a season or whatever it is and then call them back. That's a pretty jarring transition, but if we're talking, going from HSP to PNC, that's a lot smoother of a transition.
yeah, I mean, and obviously, look, I mean, obviously, we know we carry a 23-man squad on the first team, right? But player 19 to 23, those aren't on the match day 18, right? So those last 4 or 5 spots, man, they can be rotated at any time, and to be in a position to where now you can actually see yourself being in one of those positions and earning one of those spots on a professional first team as an academy player, or or a rookie draftee from the MLS draft. That's motivating, and because like I said, Kenny mentioned that about flying is generous in the valley from what he heard. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they took buses. I just said flying because it just came out of my. That's what I would think they would.
They weren't taking buses either. They were driving it.
Yeah, driving them or whatever. But with that being said, I mean, the fact is that you're in the valley and the first team is all the way over here. You don't see what's going on. You don't feel like you're a part of the organization.
And they're not practicing together. Or they weren't.
Exactly.
They weren't.
And look, and RGV, for with all the respect to them, they're trying to win whatever league they're in. They're trying to run whatever tactics they're trying to run to make sure that they're doing good.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, I'm so happy that the RGV connection is already done. Houston Dynamo 2 and Houston Dynamo are hand in hand. They're miles away from each other instead of cities away from each other. So I think it's going to benefit both the team and the players as well, and it's going to quicken the amount of players that we're able to bring up from academies, and those fringe players as well.
For sure. Real quick, a quick shout out. Welcome, Knight. H-Town throwing down the H. Welcome to the stream, Knight. We definitely appreciate you dropping in and saying hi. Fresh start for the Dynamo this season. Kid is fire. This can be the start of something special. I mean, yeah, all of the above for sure. Looking at, I was just gonna say real quick, looking at some of the youth players. We talked about Castilla a little bit. We haven't brought up Palomino, who we haven't seen a lot of in this preseason. We haven't talked about, I'm blanking on the name.
Danny Rios.
Haven't seen anything of him. Where your boy at?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, it's one of those things where, the kid's still young. I believe 17, 18. So, this is the thing. This is the difference between, when you're when you're a graduating academy player and you're becoming a fringe first team player. At a certain age, like Castilla and Rios, 16, 17, 18, at that age, dude, if you're already a fringe first team player where you're about to make it or you're about to sign that professional contract or have already signed that professional contract, you just haven't made your first team appearance yet. It's for as much as I'm a fan of his because obviously he's Salvadorian, he's played for the Salvadorian national team and all that stuff, and I would love to see him on the pitch for an actual official match with the Dynamo, right? At the same time, I have to understand that that the people around him are trying to make sure that he's ready, he's prepared to do whatever needs to be done for him to make that first appearance and to continue, and not just be, hey, Danny Rios, like that Twitter feed, Dynamo history, ex-player had 9 appearances for the Dynamo. That was it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want him to be that kind of player. I want him to have some actual, some actual history here. Have some actual markings.
Sure.
And things like that. But yeah, like I said, shout out to Golden Knight. I want to say the same night from Twitter and from the Discord or whatever.
Same dude.
From the Atletico Madrid fan. So shout out to that guy.
They can't all be winners. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I mean, let's talk the new acquisitions, new players. We're gonna save Ferrari for last because I'm pretty sure we're gonna spend a little bit more time about him. But
we better spend more time. They spent more money.
Yeah, let's start from the back, man. Brand new keeper. I know a couple people are sad to see Marco Maric gone. Georgie, Ben.
George ain't even in the stream. He ain't in chat. Get out of here.
I mean, but he'll see it later on. But
he
Steve
better
Clark,
see it later on. I got questions if he doesn't see it later on.
Steve Clark, Portland, who was with Portland Timbers.
Yep.
Prior.
Yep.
So a veteran MLS keeper.
MLS Cup keeper.
Winner.
Not winner.
MLS Cup winner. I want to say he was a
not winner. Portland didn't win it. Not when he was there. He made it a couple times, but Portland didn't win it.
Okay, well, MLS Cup finalist.
There you go. That's why I said MLS Cup keeper.
Something like that. So somebody professional. He's 37 years old, but obviously in goalkeeping years, that's probably around like 30, 31 or whatever. But he's been doing very good aside from the game played here at PNC. But it's good to have somebody familiar. Somebody who has familiarity with the league and who understands, kind of player tendencies and things like that. And plus, the benefit of not wasting an international spot on a goalkeeper. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives to this move. Obviously, welcome leadership because, obviously the team is a lot younger than last year's. Obviously, losing players like Mino Figueroa, Boniek Garcia, and players like that. Your team's going to get a whole lot younger as far as average age. So he brings a little bit of veteran leadership along with him coming over to the Dynamo. Your thoughts on Clark and how do you think he's going to do?
He's the type of keeper that I like. He can be very vocal. He's a very, strong-willed keeper. He's not afraid to come out. He's not afraid to challenge for balls. He's got a pedigree to him in terms of having played for Portland for a few seasons with a very solid defense around him. He's not a world beater in my opinion, but if he could help get the defense in front of him into a stronger shape, into a better shape, then, and really to be fair, right, anything at that point was going to probably be better than Maric, it felt like. Maric was getting beat out by Michael Nelson, and Michael Nelson is a USL championship keeper, a decent backup keeper, but not the guy you're expecting to start for your club for an entire MLS season unless you're in dire straits. Oh, go ahead.
That was gonna be my next question to you. Do you think this kind of stunts the progression of Michael Nelson? Nelson maybe being our number one keeper, but I'll let you answer. Go ahead.
I just think Michael Nelson's ceiling is probably where he is right now. Backup, not much more than that. It's the same thing they said about Joe Willis, though. So, give it 3 to 4 seasons, kind of see how he develops as a player. But, at 27 years old, keepers, of course, have a lot longer lifespan. But at 27 years old, man, it gets tough to find those starts, to find those opportunities. And, athletically, physically, he is just not at the same level as most MLS keepers. He's really not.
So let's start with the back line, man. Obviously, we brought on a couple players in the back, and we'll start with Daniel Stearns from LA Galaxy formerly. Your thoughts on him?
Stearns was an interesting acquisition for me, but the more I kind of looked at the way that they were shaping things, it made sense, right? Stearns is a guy that you can trust in the back line if he has to come in. Utility-wise, he can play anywhere across the back line. He could even play defensive midfielder if it came to it. Another center midfielder is not the worst thing in the world. He's a guy who has reasonable passing distribution capabilities. Maybe not the best 1v1 defender, maybe not the best, actual defender on the break or the counter, but again, intended to be brought in as kind of a depth player behind Teenage Adabi and Tim Parker, of course. And I think that shows. You look at the preseason and the matches that he's started and played in, there's definitely a partnership forming between him and Tim Parker, but I just can't see him being the starter back there over Teenage Hadavy right now.
No, obviously, I think we know that Parker and Teenage are that 1-2 pairing for opening day and things like that. If not, it's because probably Teenage being a little behind because of his participation in the AFCON tournament in January, so he might be a little behind. But I'm expecting Teenage to be starting February 27th. But as far as being our third center back, you can do a whole lot worse than Stairs. I mean, to be honest, like I said, another player who's familiar with MLS and who's had a lot of MLS experience, being with the Galaxy and a couple of other teams prior to that as well. So obviously, the more experience and the more comfort you are playing in a league, I think the easier it is to transition to a new team. Especially when you played against a lot of these players and a lot of these players, from past battles and things like that. Anything else you want to say about Stairs before we move on?
One important thing, and you really didn't mention this, you kind of hinted at it but didn't mention it. You look at Clark and you look at Steres, and these are players that have been in, MLS Cups. They've been in big championship situations. They've experienced the pressure and they've endured through high pressure situations, and they've shown that they have that level of play to be that kind of player. So regardless of how, if Steres starts or not, it's the fact that you're bringing that into the club, you're bringing that into the locker room, you're bringing that that mentality, that level of professionalism, that level of player just in terms of mentality, and culture into your locker room. And to be fair, that is something the Dynamo have sorely lacked for a number of seasons now.
Yeah, and Stanford says any depth is good depth compared to how shallow we usually are, and that's true. I mean, obviously, it was noticeable during the Wilmer era where we had a great starting 11, but our bench was just so crap. So when we lost players out from our starting 11, our whole overall talent went down drastically, and that's why we lost games like that. So to have quality depth is a plus, obviously, and obviously is one of the things that Pat, when he came in, understood he needed to make sure he accomplished. Not as far. I mean, obviously you want to sign the star players and the big name players and the big money players and things like that, but you also have to lay the foundation out for the team. Because what good is having a Ferrari when it's running on a Hyundai engine? So it's things like that, obviously. So, but let's go to a player that's a little young, a lot younger. Obviously, he has no MLS experience. Comes from playing in the Barcelona academy that's located in Arizona. But that Barcelona name carries worldwide. Brooklyn Reigns, highly talented academy player who is a lot of people see a huge future in the United States national team, youth national team, and then hopefully in the national team. Him coming over to the Dynamo Academy, obviously he has to get his hours in and things of that nature too before he can go play for Dino Dos or anything like that, which I think he will eventually end up doing for the season. But just your quick thoughts on Brooklyn. I know obviously I haven't seen no matches of him. I haven't seen any footage of him. So I mean I don't really have anything much to add besides what I've already said. But any thoughts on Brooklyn?
Yeah, physical specimen, if you will. But I think what's really key to take away from that acquisition is, number one, the focus obviously on the willingness to acquire very young talent for the academy, for Dynados, for the system, not just acquiring talent for the senior team, is kind of a change, right? And the other thing that we saw, and this was, very evident with this particular signing, how transparent Asher and Pat have been. They are willing to hit social media and say, this is a great move, and here's why this is a great move, or this move came about because of XYZ. Yes, it's a little bit of team speak in terms of, hey, we're going to try to spin this, to make our message clear. But, as somebody in communications, that's exactly what you need to do. And we never heard anything other than the words, and God forbid that I have to say it now, but I will not say it again after this, core values has not come up in their vocabulary since they got here. And instead of talking about those, they've been talking about real values. Look, you can't build a championship on buckets, but you damn sure can build it on real value. And that is the thing that Pat and you like that one, huh? That was pretty good. That is the thing that Pat and Asher brought, and for them to talk about it so openly on social media like that, and be very clear about why they're doing certain things. Asher said in relation to Brooklyn that they had a year he was going to need to get a year of service time under his belt, which means academy time, before he could be considered a full Houston Dynamo homegrown player. But for them to go out and use actual funds, budget, if you will, whatever, and salary to sign this kid from, and RSL had his homegrown rights. He was an RSL homegrown. And so for them to spend the money shows their dedication to this kid, shows their commitment. And not just to this kid, not just to Brooklyn, but I think kind of to the intent of the academy, the intent of what we're trying, what they're trying to do, I think, with the entire system and the entire club. And it spoke volumes to me about how transparent they were with it. And they've been that way with every move that they've made, including the move to just acquire, basically pay for an international slot. This is the reason we needed an international slot, and it makes sense for us. And I was like, wow, this is a real change of pace. And I kind of enjoy it because I actually get to, stuff I've been saying for a while is kind of getting cleared up, and I like it. It's nice to see transparency.
No. Yeah, obviously transparency is key, especially obviously with the fan base being left in darkness for the last 7 years to a decade. And the fact that we're able to be a little bit more involved makes me feel better as a fan, as a supporter. Because I feel like they're involving us.
They respect the intelligence of the fans, of the fans, right?
Exactly. Because it's one of those things where it sucks to think about, like, oh man, does the team have enough in international spots to go even make a splash? What kind of money are we spending for this now? Or that kind of stuff is agonizing for fans to be
I'm telling you to keep preaching, brother. Keep preaching.
Yeah,
keep preaching.
It's agonizing as a fan because look, we look, for the most part, and for the audience here on Twitch right now, we were born before MLS was even a thing, right? So so for as far as we're used to and what I've been used to prior to me being heavily involved with the Dynamo or MLS like that, it's easy. Hey, this club is interested in this player. They're gonna pay this amount of money. He's gonna come over. ABC. That was it. Man, with the Dynamo, it's been, hey, if we've been linked to a player, we would hear about it for a couple days, and then what happened? I don't know. Nobody knows what happened.
Crickets, baby, crickets. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. Whatever. But going back to the stairs thing. Callo, what's up, Callo? He says, we had so much CD depth. Junqua, Foymayor, Minor, McCure, our wingback depth was weak. He says depth also doesn't mean starting quality player. And I agree. Look, but the thing is, with Stairs, the thing about that, when you have, or when you're trying to build quality backup players, is that you're trying to get players who can do the same thing your starting player can, but for a shorter amount of time.
Yep.
Think about it. Typically, center backs, you're not subbing those guys out unless they're tired or they're injured, right? So if, let's say, Teenage is tired for the last 10 minutes and you see the attacking players of the other team running circles around him, you put in Stairs. You're hoping that Stairs can give you the same quality for those last 10 minutes that Teenage gave you for the first 80. That's all you're asking from your backup players, to give you the same intensity for a shorter period amount of time and to not let the level of the game fall. And unfortunately, prior, because we had such crap quality and such crap depth, once Albert Elise was gone, or Kyoto, or Mauro Manota, so whoever was out, the quality just dropped, and it was so noticeable. And that's what the difference is between a piss poor team, a second to last place or a last place team in the conference, is to a playoff team. We're not even talking about the difference between a playoff team to a championship contending team. So there's still levels to this. But obviously, baby steps and 1 foot at a time. Because we've been down here for the last 2-3 years. Now I think for sure this year we have a realistic shot of actually making some noise and maybe making the playoffs. We'll see. But keeping going with the player acquisitions, one player that was recently announced that we haven't seen play yet, unfortunately, because he was just announced a couple of days ago, was a Brazilian right back from Vasco da Gama, Seca. For those who don't know who Seca is he's a Olympic gold medalist for the 2018 Brazil national team that won in Rio de Janeiro. Was it 18? Yeah, 18. Yeah. Was it 18? No. 16. Sorry, 16. 2016. I'm getting my years messed up. World Cup and Olympic years. 2016. That team obviously had big players like Neymar, Marquinhos, Weverton, who we just saw play in the club World Cup for Palmeiras against Chelsea this past weekend. So I mean, it was great. Obviously, Seca's career hasn't gone the way of those players. But you're getting a quality player who understands how to play in big stages and has played in big tournaments. I would be lying to tell you that I've seen any games of his from Vasco da Gama. I don't really follow second division Brazilian soccer like that. But from the highlights that I've seen, he's not scared to shoot from outside the box, which is a quality, which is I think something in our attacking that we've always needed. That I've always felt that somebody needs to have some balls and shoot from outside the box to just, even if it's a bad shot, but just to let it be known that this is an option that might happen, But he seems from everything that I've seen to be, a nice little pickup at right back. And obviously, a lot of us, last couple of months, far from wanting a new number 9 and a 10 and all this, we wanted a right back because unfortunately, our right back from last year was scoring goals against us, our own right back, too many.
He was like our top 3 scorer on the team.
For the other team, yeah.
I did never said he scored goals in the proper goal. I just said he was top 3 scorer on the team.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like I said, I'm looking for. Look, the thing it's crazy. I read this article about him when that they or I don't know if it was an article or if it was an interview that Asher was on or Pat was on. We were talking about Seca, and how he came about. That they were scouting him during his time in Columbus, and they were like they were talking about how it might be he might be below the quality, and they're like, what do you mean? Like this guy's Olympic gold medalist. He played for the biggest club in Brazil, which is Santos, and one of the biggest clubs in Brazilian soccer, Internacional. And he was scouted by Liverpool during that time period as well. The fact that it didn't happen for him, that's neither here nor there. But but the guy has talent, obviously. For him to achieve the feats that he's achieved. People think that because you're Brazilian and you don't make the Brazilian national team that you're crap. No, man. There's only a half. Brazil is so full of talent, football, soccer wise. When you make it to the Brazilian national team, it's because you're the cream of the crop, right? You're the Neymars, you're the Ronaldinhos, you're the Ronaldos,
Marcelo,
Marcelos, those type of players. But just below that, those U23 players that don't quite take the senior squad for whatever reason, those are the talented as well. And Seca was a U23 player, but think about who you had at right back for Brazil all these years. Players like that, so you understand why Seca doesn't get an opportunity with the first team, in Brazil. But still, I'm excited to see Seca and Dynamo Orange and see what he can bring and bring that a little bit of that Jogo Bonito to H-Town.
Yeah, I am very thrilled. I still need to see him play. I think Callo kind of said something to that effect about how related to the endurance, our endurance has been an issue for years. I'm still not sold on conditioning. I'll need to see it. I agree with you. Conditioning has been a consistent issue for more than 7 years. And we need to see how that kind of plays out throughout the season, and especially in these first few matches. We would wilt when it got to the 65th, 70th minute. We just didn't have the same intensity. So can Paulo, going back to Paulo real quick, can Paulo, Paulo, good God, I need to pronounce it right. Can Paulo Nagamura, can he extract that intensity out of these players in the last 15, 20 minutes of matches and keep them focused and in the match, mentally there? That's something we've significantly missed. And, Tab didn't. That was very clear. Tab couldn't find a way to get the players to do it. So it falls on Paulo to figure that out. And I believe he can. I believe he has the capability, and he's seen how to do it from Peter Vermes. And in his experience with the teams he's played for, that was something that, they all had to deal with as well. But it's similar to Callow. I've got to see it. I've got to see it, in action. I've got to see these players play a full 90. I've got to see our center backs go a full 90. I've got to see that defensive line not give up 4 goals in a match against Austin FC. For the love of God, please don't do that again. I've got to see. I've got to see it. I've got to see it with my own eyes. And seeing these players only playing for a single half at a time, it does leave me a little worried about their capability to go the full 90. But, at this point, all I can do is trust this coaching staff, trust the new physio team that we have, and trust the work that Asher has been doing, in improving in those areas and helping Paulo improve in those areas. For the team, and Paulo's staff are very good. It's a very good staff, a very good coaching staff, and we will see very soon. We will find out very, very soon.
It's funny you speak of endurance. I saw a clip earlier today from Thierry Henry talking about they were talking about this pose that Kylian Mbappe he mimicked Thierry Henry's iconic poses after he scores a goal, and the commentator. She was asking him, where was that game at? And he looked really tired. And he's like, this was when the MLS playing in Houston. And for those who follow MLS soccer and follow American soccer, they know what I mean when I say Houston. You're talking about 90, 95-degree weather, and that's just playing. You're not even talking about the humidity. So after I scored that goal, he usually goes to the flag, and celebrates over there. After he scored that goal, he looked at the flag and he was like, "You know what? That flag is a little too far right now, mate." So he just went to the goalpost and did it next to the goalpost. I mean, man, look. I mean, endurance is always going to be an issue around here because obviously the humidity and then those long summer nights it's hard. It's not an easy feat to play in 90-degree weather with 100% humidity. Things like that. It's hard. You're gonna drip sweat. You're gonna drip, and that kid's gonna weigh heavy on you, especially after you run 3 miles on that pitch, running back and forth. But with that being said, I mean, we still have to find a way to overcome that. It's an advantage of ours because the Dynamo do get to play in that. Other teams are coming into that, and they don't know how to deal with that. So it is an advantage that we do need to grab by the horns and make sure that we take full advantage of it when teams come to PNC. But
I've heard real quick, Mark. I've heard through the grapevine that they're going to have some kind of temperature display or something like that as the teams exit the locker rooms, intentionally in that tunnel as they come onto the pitch. And the intent there is so that opposing teams know the hell that they are about to go through during the summer. And I'm here for that, baby.
Yeah, I too have heard the same rumor, and I hope they do it, man. I hope it's
hell yeah.
It's one of those things where look, man, a lot of people might see it as a disadvantage to be out there. It's hot as hell, whatever this and that. But look, man, we're from Houston. We're born in hell. It's hot. It's never gonna change. You're gonna catch me out there in the supporters section with swimming trunks and sandals on for a couple of these games. Shit. I mean, I'm gonna be out there dripping sweat.
Hell yeah.
But it is what it is. It's our advantage, and we got to take full advantage of it. And I think it's a great idea from the front office to do something to help display that. So when opposing players come in and walk through that tunnel, make that while that tunnel is I'm sure already kind of hot and humid because it is already compact. Once they go out there to understand, look, damn, it says it's 110 degrees on this pitch right now. That's
Yes,
crazy.
sir. Yes, sir.
But let's go to our key signing.
Wait. Before we get to that, I have a question for you. Something I noticed, and I got to ask, are you planning this for the season? Are you going to do polls of the week anymore?
Yeah, man. But what kind of? I mean,
hey, I got to ask, man. I got to put you on point. No. I got to put you.
Anytime we have shows for those who are new to the show, they're usually 12 hours to 18 hours in advance. We have a poll question of the day, depending on what's going on with the Dynamo or the season, and we will have one. The only reason I didn't do it today is because we had a badass kit drop today. So I didn't want to take anything away from that. We're a big deal, Sean.
Faux show.
So,
Faux show.
I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take any of the Dynamo's fire from away. So,
I mean, look, you could have easily dropped one. What y'all feel about that kit? Fire or not? That's all you needed to do. Let's be real.
I mean, that's a rhetorical question.
It's 100%. Let's go. Ain't no question. Hey, a real quick shout out to Finn / I'm not sure if that's Christian or Finn. I'm assuming that's Finn. I hope you're still not on your date, bro, because that'd be kind of awkward. I mean, we love you, but not like that. And then George, what's up, George? Welcome back, brother. We appreciate you coming back, stopping and saying hi. We love you. Yeah, we already said hi to Callo. But yeah, it's great to see you guys back hanging out. And for those that missed it, I was on Finn's Dynapod a couple of times this off season.
There you go. Yeah,
we had some interesting fun. That is all I'm gonna say. I don't know if you've heard any of it, Mark, but boy, those topics got a little interesting. Finn, you took it to a whole other level in that podcast. That's for sure.
Finn has invited me to do the podcast with him.
You need to join.
And unfortunately, I haven't been able to. But for sure, man, I will be joining you pretty soon, Finn. One of these days, because I heard the fun that y'all be having up there, and I want to have some fun with you guys. So, or you in particular, Finn. For those who don't know, Finn is a Spurs fan as well, and obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I know he loves to poke fun at me, even though I know that it's all love and games, whatever, all love and banter. But yeah, for sure, Finn, I'll be joining you on your podcast here one of these days, for sure. You have my word. But with that being said,
I had my mouse over the mute button on you because I was gonna anything you said about Spurs is about to go down.
That's a whole nother topic. But we're
absolutely.
Dynamo.
I can't believe we just about 30 minutes left in the show. Where has the show gone? Holy crap!
I know exactly. I know, but this is when you have stuff to talk about and it's positive things. Time flies by, man. When you're having a good time, time flies by.
It's so good to be back, and it's so good to have Ted Siegel as our owner right now. I mean, let's put it this way: if the season goes even moderately well, this midpoint of this season, we might be having a let's all just have some positive vibes type show where we just playing some positive music and just chilling and talking about how happy we all are. Because I kind of feel it right now. Like I legit am excited for this season, and it ain't a front, it ain't a face, it ain't a charade or a facade as it were. It is legit. I am excited. I am hyped for this season. You guys obviously saw the kit. The kit is fantastic, but it's these players, man. It is the mentality. It's the culture change. It is what I am seeing happen in front of my eyes, which is the declaration via visual of a club identity. And that's exciting.
And with that being said, let's talk about our new number 9.
What? Look, it's like I just segue perfectly for you.
There you go. Sebastien Ferreira, Paraguayan international.
Ferrari. Oh.
I mean,
did you see Ferrari's highlight reels before, after they signed him when they tweeted him out on Twitter?
Man, look, man. Sometimes, look, I'm gonna tell you honestly, the highlight reels I don't really care too much for, right? Because you can always make somebody look good, right? Sure. But the thing that I do look for when I look at a highlight reel of a player, to be honest, and it shows me that this player can be different from other players, is the way they control themselves around the pitch and the different types of dimensions they do and the different types of different ways they move around the pitch, right?
Yeah.
And in his case, because he's a number 9, the different ways he scored goals, because like I said, look, there's a lot of number 9s out there in the world, You know, a lot of teams in the world, a lot of different leagues, a lot of number nines, and we've had a couple of crap nines come the Dynamo way. We have a lot of great number nines come out our way, right? But you know what I saw in that highlight reel, to me, the way he was able to control his body around, to be able to be in the perfect position for him to score fantastic goals and golazos, and be able to create and be able to pass in the box and be able to control the ball in the box, is one thing that I think we've been lacking for a long while now. You know, even we had a really good number 9 in Mauro Manotas, right? But one of the things about Mauro that I really didn't like was the fact that he couldn't control the ball in the box. You know, it was one of those things where if it wasn't Kyoto or at least really setting him up nicely, he wasn't scoring. But with Sebastien, I think is one of those things where he can create on his own inside the box and make the space he needs to score the goal on his own if he's up there by himself. So that's a big difference, you know, as far as quality goes. And I'm really excited to see that. And obviously in the first 5 games, the 3 goals he scored, you know, he's shown that, you know, he's ready to go. He's armed and ready. He's excited about this project. You know, he's excited about coming up here and leading the way. I don't know what I don't know what their meeting consisted of or what project he showcased to Sebastien, but whatever it was,
he's bought in. He is bought in.
He's bought in. He's ready to go, you know? And look, and the thing about these signings, not just because money spent or, you know, or the potential of what he can do, right? These players, when you bring in these type of quality players, these players go back to their countries and they talk to their old former players and stuff like that, and they tell them about the great experience that they had and things like that. And that opens up the eyes to other players coming over. You know, for those who follow me on Twitter at @JustLikeOver, for those who don't know, you know, I talk a lot about, you know, as Sean Rose as well, you know, or somewhere down there.
I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at your Twitter tag.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's somewhere down there. But you know, I talk about, you know, not why, you know, if we're gonna sign a winger, if we're still looking for a CM. Hey, why not just go to the club that he was with and pick up a player that he's comfortable with, whatever, you know, whether it be Ivan Franco, Julian, and Ciso, whatever, you know, players like that, whatever. Whether that happens or not, you know, it's whatever. But I mean, but still, if Sebastien has a great year with the Dynamo and they go on to achieve, you know, good things, whatever, and he's, you know, scoring 15 goals plus, and he's loving the environment, he loves the culture, he loves the supporter groups, you know, he loves the fans. Guess what he's gonna go do? He's gonna go back to Paraguay when he's on vacation, and go back, you know, to Libertad's training grounds. He's gonna tell these guys like, hey man, some of y'all might want to come up here with me. You know, that's how players are found sometimes, man. The management goes up to a player and says, hey man, do you know any players that we're looking for this position? Do you know any players that, you know, that we can look into? You know, it's sometimes not even about the scouting department. Sometimes it's just the players and no players. That's it.
Yeah, there's been I'm kind of laughing. There's been quite a few comments, 3, 4, 5 comments that I've seen pass by on the the Twitch chat. I'm still in preseason form myself. On the Twitch chat, talking about how Sebas looked a little jiggly today. Yeah, I mean, I noticed it too, and I'll say this in regard to that. I think, you know, it's important to remember that a lot of players tend to put on a little bit of extra weight in the offseason, and they usually shed those pounds once they get back into matches. And it's, you know, it doesn't have to be much. If your body's used to having that muscle there, it doesn't take much for it to, you know, convert into fat for a short period of time, and that don't mean nothing. I mean, you could be healthy and be fat.
But if even that's the case, I would love to be his fat.
Right? Give me that body fat percentage. I'll take it.
I mean, look, he's thick. You know, that's fine. Look, I mean, think about all the thick number 9s out there in the world. Kun Aguero, Luis Suarez, you know, Hulk. You know, players like that, you know, like, you know, they had a thick body frame, you know, they had a little extra weight on them. That's fine. He's gonna play in Houston. He's gonna shed that off easily. You know, that's not a problem.
Lukaku, that's a real good one. Lukaku, I didn't think about that.
Lukaku.
Look at prime James Harden. I'm sorry, bro. What a great comment. Look at prime James Harden.
James Harden, you know, MVP caliber. He had a couple pounds on him, you know.
Why don't we just call him Brooklyn James Harden? Because I bet that James Harden that shows up in Philadelphia, you know, for next season, I bet that's going to be a different James Harden.
Yeah. Shout out to Georgie, Noelia, and
What's up, Noelia?
Noelia. But yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not worried about the little bit of weight, he put on. He's out here eating, man. He's out here eating, feasting on these center backs in MLS. That's what he's doing.
For sure. And you know what? Finn had a good point, too. Look, don't matter if he's jiggly. He's already scored 3 times in 5 matches. He's doing it. Don't matter what you look like if you're out there doing it.
For sure. I mean, the thing is, like, now we seen him play in the system that Paulo has designed for the team, and he's doing good. That's what you want to see. I mean, and with that being said, let's talk about a little bit of the preseason, before we run out of time and things like that. Obviously, we talked about the match earlier today against Toronto FC. We're not gonna talk so much about the what happened here. But the Arizona Cup, whatever they call it now, the Tucson Cup. Whatever they call it now. I mean, it was a great showing, those 3 matches. I think it was 2 wins and a tie. You saw goals from Fafa. You saw goals from Sebastien, obviously, and you saw what I saw up there. Even though it's very early, I saw unity, chemistry. Players still learning still learning where the other player is going to be located at. And even though through all that struggles, they were still able to play and combine and score goals and win matches. So I feel that even though preseason is preseason, honestly, we could have lost all the games of preseason. I wouldn't have cared. It's whatever. It's what they're doing on the pitch that really matters to me. And I see the unity and the cohesiveness of them, being able to link up and match up and do all that stuff that is needed for a team to really be a team, have that chemistry. So, I mean, your thoughts on the preseason so far, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, the one loss, right? That's it. So, looking good. I think there's still defensively some things to work out. But at the same time, you pointed it out. Teenage Davy has yet to start. Getting him in there in that starting back line, I think will make a huge difference. Griffin Dorsey's been our starter at right back. I think getting Seka out there and getting him a chance to be that right back player.
Let's not forget we had Coco and Darwin Surin out for qualifiers. Obviously
Coco hurt, man, because getting hurt. Hopefully it's just we haven't heard exactly what it is, but hopefully it's just a short term thing, and he'll be back within one or two weeks. Getting back for the start of the season wouldn't be so bad, or even just a week in, 2 weeks in, I'd be okay with rest up though, get good, don't come back 85%, come back 100%. But man, there's definitely a difference when he's on the pitch versus when he's not. That's for sure, and it's interesting to see that kind of an impact from that kind of player.
Yeah, I mean he has the versatility, the speed, and the creativeness that we're looking for. I mean, the only other player, because we haven't seen Palomino play that much, the only other player that has provided that is Quintero. But Quintero, obviously, he doesn't have the speed that he used to have. He's a lot older now. He's 34 years old, I think. So, we'll see what happens. Kylo's asking about the Icelandic Tomas Martinez. So I'm thinking he's referring to Thor.
There's not another Icelander on their team, so it has to be Thor.
Yeah, so I mean, we can speak a little bit on Thor if you want, man. I mean, obviously,
I'm curious about the Tomas Martinez comparison. I mean, you're trying to say he can't pass the ball. You're trying to say he can't shoot. You're trying to say I just don't get it because he's had 45 total minutes this preseason for the team, and he's fresh out of college. Give him a year with Dynados or half a season with Dynados. I mean, the kid has a nose for goal. He's gonna be a capable backup pretty soon.
Get Coco on his own secret service. Pin this guy down to a new contract. Yeah, that's gonna be one of the things that obviously is gonna be looming pretty soon here because obviously his loan ends in June. And we'll see if the Dynamo pick up the option. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Dynamo want to pick up the option to sign him, but does the player want to stay? That's obviously the other thing that we have to worry about. He does come from La Liga 2 club. I can't remember the club off the top of my head. But with that being said, I mean, yeah, it's going to be
Sevilla?
very interesting. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Sevilla.
But let's talk about Dynamo rumors right now for
real
example.
Quick. Hold up, real quick. Rewind. Callo says, I'm trying to say he'll be the top of our mid in 2 years. In other words, he'll be the top of that triangle for the midfield.
Oh, for as far as Thor?
As far as Thor, I don't know about that, man. He's a true striker. He's got that striker build, man.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy. I mean, I think
What's up, X?
But yeah, man. Dynamo rumors. I know. Sometimes we don't. It's kind of crazy that we a lot of times don't have nothing to speak about as far as players being linked to the Dynamo. But this offseason's been fun, right? We've had players named, players connected to the Dynamo. Some have signed, some haven't. We've heard through supporter meeting get-togethers and social media that the club is focusing hard on signing a DP player and to fill up the rest of the U22 spots, which we have 2 left. Bahamich is still occupying one of the spots because he's still technically a Dynamo player, even though he's on loan for Huracan and Argentina. So we have 1 DP and 2 U22 spots available at the moment, unless later on they buy down teenage or whatever other mechanisms. But at this moment, right now, 8:41 p.m. Houston Central Time, we have 1 DP, 2 U22 spots available. And a lot of things, a lot of noise out there. That they were focusing on a winger and a central midfielder. Now, which one's going to occupy which spot? I don't know. I've heard a lot of rumors about a DP central midfielder for the summer. We'll see what happens.
DP, buddy. DP for sure.
DP central midfielder. We'll see what happens. But but you never know who can enter the fray. During now and summertime, you never know what other player might come available to the team during now and said time. So it's a lot of things, which makes it fun as a fan to trying to think about who can come into the team, who can bring that noise, who can bring familiarity, who can be the face of the franchise, who can put butts in seats, things like that. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to it. Do you think we sign anybody else before the season starts the 27th?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I think we're done until April.
Okay. April obviously is the end of the window for MLS or whatever. Okay,
and the new one, by the way, opens in May.
Yeah,
there's like 2 week. There's a 2 week cut of where the transfer window is not open. I'm like,
it's gonna be an interesting time, not just for the Dynamo but for MLS this summer transfer window, because a lot of players are gonna be looking to keep in shape. Because remember, guys, we have a Winter World Cup this season.
That's right.
And MLS Cup is scheduled for November 5th, and the World Cup 2022 in Qatar starts November 20.
Yeah, like
don't quote me. I think it's the 22nd.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks right after MLS Cup ends.
So something like that. So obviously that's why you're seeing players like Insigne signing for Toronto FC, Salcedo going from Tigres to Toronto FC. Hey, Sebastien Ferreira, if Paraguay happens to make a move and they end up in those top 4.5 spots that Combo have, maybe he's a part of Paraguay's plans in the future. Obviously Coco with Panama right now, they're heavily right there fighting for a spot in the World Cup alongside Mexico, United States, and Canada. So we'll see what happens with that. Someone say 420.
Kenny said it ends on 420 if memory serves correct. That's why.
Speaking of 420, hey, for those who don't know, there's gonna be smoke. There's gonna be smoke in the stadiums.
Nice.
Maybe not the type of smoke that I'm thinking right now, but there's gonna be smoke. A little orange haze out there. But I mean, I don't know if they'll get another signing in before the season starts. It'd be nice too, but I mean, obviously, if they do, the player still needs time to get acclimated and to get into shape or whatever. But it is interesting to see, to think about, what player might come as far as like, a big player, a big name player, if that, or at least a DP level type player, because a lot of players are, running down their contracts and picking up a player on a free. That means it makes it a lot easier than having to deal with transfer fees and agents and all this other stuff. So agent fees.
Let me ask you a real simple question. If you had to pick one position on the squad that you want to definitely upgrade with that DP slot, what position are you picking and why, Mark?
Yeah. Well, I won't say the 9 because Sebastian's there right now. So this is currently right now.
Currently, yep.
And to have, I think they're looking at the 2 spots that they need to be looking at, which is winger and central midfield. So I mean, but which one? Because if you have a top elite winger, which we used to have in Albert Elise, right before he became the Albert Elise is dominating French soccer now. You saw how much focus a player like that takes opposing teams give to that one player, right? Which opens up for other players. But then when you have a elite level, let's say Cam that can distribute the ball, pass the ball, make those passes and score as well. It's just it's a dual threat, right? But I think in Paulo's scheme, from what I've seen, I think they need more controlling in the midfield. So I would have to go with this DP center midfielder over a DP winger at this moment. I would want to improve my 10.
If I'm picking right now, and honestly, this is probably going to be the case for a while, I'm going defensive midfielder. I want a killer defensive midfielder. To me, your teams that succeed in MLS and succeed abroad, they have a killer defensive midfielder. They have a destroyer defensive midfielder. You look globally at the teams that are successful. Your Chelsea, your Man City, your I would say Tottenham, but that would be a lie. I would say Arsenal, but they're not even close. Hey, I'm just being realistic, brother. I'm just being realistic. Barcelona, Real Madrid, as well. PSG, Bayern Munich. Every one of these teams, they have a killer defensive midfielder. I just am a firm believer that your success starts with the spine of the team, and you have to have that killer. And the thing is, if you have a killer at defensive mid, a guy who's a true destroyer who can really cover for your center backs and cover for your wing backs as necessary, if you've got that guy that can distribute forward, you free yourself up to have 2 players in attacking mid or players that are shifting and moving in various ways. And I like Vera, but he ain't that guy. He's not that killer. And it sure as heck ain't Memo. And it ain't Joe. It ain't Corona. So I'm hard pressed to find that destroyer right now at defensive mid on the squad.
Maybe they bring out Derek Jones, man. I mean, Jones had that one game last season where where we were all astonished and we were like, "Damn, what happened afterwards?"
I'm tired I'm tired of players that give me one match, and I need more than one match. I need a full season.
No, but like, man, DP money on a defensive player. Oh, man, that's.
Would you spend that money if N'Golo Kante was available right now? Are you spending that? I'm just asking. Would you spend that money?
Man, it's tough because of the way MLS is structured. Like if this was a free league, like where we were just whatever, we didn't have to worry about the way the salary cap is structured and all that stuff. And yeah, for sure, again, bring me N'Golo Kante, right? But it's just to have a defensive player be one of your top 3 earners. It's difficult. It's difficult from my standpoint as far as because
you know who'd like to argue with you. Michael Bradley for the last how many seasons?
Well, I mean, yeah, but Michael Bradley...
Not right now, because Insigne is making more money than his ass is.
Well, Insigne's making about... It's going to make $15 million a year.
That's what I'm saying. He's making more than Bradley is now, but before that...
Yeah, he's going to make a lot more than Bradley ever did, whatever it's not. But, but what I'm saying is, like, aside from, like, like a U.S. national team or a Mexican national team player that's well-known, whatever, that obviously, if you sell because of the names of this and that.
Let me ask this. Let me rephrase it. Let me make it even easier on you, Mark. If you had the opportunity to sign or trade for right now, Kellen Acosta, would you do it?
I would. Yeah, I would sign it. Yeah, of course, Kellen Acosta, I would sign him. But I mean, okay. but then again, he's a U.S. men's national team player.
He is.
He has that, like, he's that Michael. I won't compare him to Michael Bradley. Michael Bradley, I think, has had a far superior career than Acosta, right? but they fall under that umbrella as far as they have that U.S. men's national team draped all over them, right?
Sure.
But with that being said, there's incentives for those type of players. That's why you're able to bring them along. That's why you're able to bring them back, because you want to have your top home players playing in your domestic league, right? But as far as like an international player, yeah, let's say Conte, right? Conte's the best defensive midfield, the best number 6 in the world, right? Yeah, that's great. He has lungs that can cover all 3 positions, but how many times is Conte involved in the attack? That's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, it's about scoring goals. And
well,
the Dynamo have had a difficult time scoring goals.
So, right, it's interesting you bring that up, but I want you to consider, if you look at Columbus and you look at KC, they both have decent defensive midfielders. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but those are like built up, they're not. Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, but those aren't top 3 earners in their clubs, you have to kind of like.
Darlington Navy wasn't bought on a free, buddy.
Well, yeah, but if you're able to bring a player like that from your academy and he ends up turning out to be like, let's say Rico Clark, right? We had Rico Clark, great. That's great. That's awesome. He gets paid whatever he gets paid under the structure that MLS has him structured in. That's great. But you're not paying Rico Clark $3 million a year to be a defensive mid. It's cool. Okay, whatever. But you're willing to pay the $3 million for a player who's your number 10, who's assisting and scoring goals and doing things left and right, who's putting up the big numbers. That's why I wasn't opposed to, like, let's say if the Dynamo or let's say Toronto FC were somehow able to bring back Javinko before he ended up signing for Sampdoria. Because the guy's done it. The guy's done it. He's the type of quality he has. He can score the goals. He can assist the goals. Yeah, he's older. But the position that he plays and what he does.
I'm pointing to chat. You need to say that last chat.
Yeah. Osvaldo Alonso. He wasn't paid that.
No, but that's fair. But what I'm saying is, how much of a difference does having a destroyer at defensive mid make for a team? And look, we could say, well, you don't spend the money on that type of player. But I would argue, if that player has that level of impact on your squad, why not go get the best one you can get and just spend the money for him? I'm okay with that.
Okay, that's great. But look, Osvaldo Alonso, look who he's passing the ball to. Once he's done destroying, you gotta be able to pass the ball to somebody to be able to pivot and move forward, right?
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you have a destroyer, if he passes the ball to Memo and then Memo loses it right afterwards, or if he passes it to Corona and Corona loses right afterwards, or if he passes to Darwin and Darwin gets stripped because he's slow now, it doesn't make sense. As far as, yeah, your defense is going to be crazy good, great, but the thing is, like, the level of talent as far as attacking has gone up on MLS, so we have to be able to maintain a level of threat offensively to compete in MLS now.
Look, the reason we lost against Austin, and it's very clear for anybody who watched that match to see, we got ran over in midfield. You know why we got ran over in midfield? Because we don't have that killer destroyer at defensive mid. My point is, and you just helped me make my point without even realizing it, yes, the quality of attack in MLS is superior right now. Our quality in defensive midfield is not superior. So either we help to try to get our attack to just stay equal with everybody else, or we get a killer defensive midfielder, we go ahead and pay the money, and we have a player that helps us beat other teams by simply being there and being better than their attacks. That's what I'm talking about.
But I would rather spend a U22 spot.
No, to be fair, I'm not suggesting that is the only player we spend money on or the only position we spend money on. I am a firm believer that in this league now, you have to be willing to spend on defensive mid and you have to be willing to spend in your attack. Those two positions primarily. And positions attack, you can do it multiple ways. But defensive midfielder is the most important player on the pitch, bar none, because you can find other ways in attack to get around it.
Yeah, Georgie brings up ex Spurs or Wanyama.
Wanyama.
Which yeah, I mean, but he came on a free, I mean, so you're not
Sure,
worried about
absolutely. But that's the point. There are those types of players out there that are going to be available for free, but you have to be willing to go after them, is my point. You can't be so focused and dead set on attack that all you ever look for is the high money player in attack, because you're going to miss out on those types of players that are absolutely going to change the direction and the culture, not culture, but the identity of your squad, simply because you were too blind to see what was going on.
But to counter that, just to keep playing devil advocate here.
Sure.
Mean,
we got 5 minutes left, but keep going.
Yeah, imagine picking up a Matuidi,
Matuidi,
and then you throwing a lot of money at Matuidi, and then that's that. I mean,
but if you're doing that, you're cheating because you're Miami, so it doesn't. That's not a quality comparison, really, to be honest with you.
I got you. Like Sean said, I mean, we got 5 minutes left in the show. My phone just died, so I can't see the chat anymore. Sorry, guys. So,
you're not. Diame is available. That's true. Diame is available. You're not wrong. Probably still going to be available for a while. My point is though that you can't neglect that particular defensive position, that defensive midfielder.
No. I would never say neglect that. I mean, obviously, it's the anchor of the defense. I mean, it's the first front line of your defense, the defensive mid, right? Sometimes that's why a lot of teams, even though a lot of teams play the 4-3-3, a lot of teams have gone away from the 4-3-3 and play a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Because they want two defensive mids. They want that first line of defense to be, two players you have your physical player and you have your versatile player who can control it.
It's much more of an 8 and a 6 or a 6 and an 8 versus just 2 6s. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. But I think also some of that is the result of how MLS's salary budget is structured and how there are not enough DP slots for you to upgrade every position. So if you can't upgrade your position at D-mid, you can't get the player you want at that position. You're going to have to settle for players that are not that high a quality at D-mid. So what do you do to cover for that? You play 2 of them in that same position and hope that one of them is good enough.
Yeah, that's true. Or you can find a young player that's under 22 and put them in one of those U22 spots.
What's up, Copeland?
But yeah, guys, obviously we're coming to the end of the show. Sean, anything you want to add before we head out?
Man, it's been an hour and a half, and this is crazy. Like, I'm not kidding. It's good to be back. Axel Witsel. I would not be opposed to Witsel at all. What an incredible player. But yeah, seriously, guys. I mean, an hour and a half. You can expect this week in, week out, as long as life or work doesn't get in the way. Wednesday night, 7:30 to 9 is going to be the time frame that we're going for. So an hour and a half each week. Make sure you get your tweets into us beforehand. We'll try to talk Twitter topics as they, throughout the week. And as always, make sure you hit us up in Twitch chat. We appreciate you guys joining us for sure live. Closing thoughts. I have one closing thought, and that is totally not Dynamo related. I gotta say it because Finn's here and Finn's gonna appreciate this. When are Spurs gonna back Antonio Conte with some goddamn money? For the love of God, spend on players.
Hey, guys, before we go, obviously I want to piggyback off a little bit about Sean, that we're happy to be back, we're going to call this season 4.
Season 4.
Yeah,
it's cuatro.
Season 4 of Generation Orange, man. Guys, obviously, we're hoping to be here every Wednesday, 7:30 to 9. Obviously, unless there's a Dynamo game on a Wednesday or whatever, or work and life interfere, or whatever, one of the two. But yeah, excited to be back. Excited to see and talk to each and one of y'all. Please tweet us at Gen Orange Radio on Twitter. Let us know what you want to talk about. Dynamo related, Dash related as well. We have a lot of love for the ladies, as you know, and I know next time we'll have a little bit more on the Dash. But yeah, always remember to hold it down, guys.